In the United States, the journalism industry has a legacy of harming Black communities and other communities of color. Not all of us have learned this history. Even those of us who practice as journalists know only portions of this story. Let's take a look back at 3 historic examples of media harm. First, the Boston Newsletter. The Boston Newsletter, our nation's first continuously published newspaper, ran its first slave ad less than a month after its founding in 1704. The paper's publisher served as a broker with enslavers, publishing at least 66 slave ads with inquirer of the printer in the notice. These ads resulted in the sale and trafficking of as many as 100 enslaved African and indigenous people. Second, the Rocky Mountain News. In 1864, U.S. cavalry troops slaughtered nearly 200 Cheyenne and Arapaho people in what became known as the Sand Creek Massacre. The Rocky Mountain News framed the massacre as a military victory and applauded soldiers for defeating what the newspaper had portrayed as a dangerous indigenous community. Only later did the truth surface. This was a mass murder of mostly women and children. Third, the Hearst and McClatchy newspaper empires and other West Coast papers. Newspapermen William Randolph Hearst and V.S. McClatchy fueled anti-Japanese sentiment in the early 1900s. Their papers created and amplified vicious stereotypes that over time cultivated acceptance of Japanese American incarceration during World War II. These are only 3 of the countless examples of journalism's history of harm. It's taken the work of many scholars and journalists of color to piece together the industry's roots in oppression and anti-Black racism.
As someone who's been studying history and working on a media history and working on the Media 2070 project, we have seen the long history of anti-Black racism in the media system, how the media system itself is a part, like any other system that was created in our country, was created to uphold a white racial hierarchy. I was fortunate enough working on a book several years ago, Juan Gonzalez now, that we talked a little bit about the history of anti-Asian, anti-Chinese, anti-Japanese racism in the media system, and the same is this, like the same kind of harms, violence perpetrated against the community. It was done just like it has in the indigenous community and the Latinx community and so forth, so on. So this is history of white supremacy in the media system and the function it plays.
It's important for us to recognize that anti-Blackness is the fulcrum of white supremacy, and our failure to address our media's anti-Blackness impacts all communities of color. And research shows that media harm continues today, with detrimental impacts on Black communities and other communities of color. News outlets still act as stenographers for the police, failing to question law enforcement's talking points and repeating outright lies. Newsrooms still amplify racist and xenophobic narratives that result in harmful policies, and they still profit from perpetuating oppression. We can't change journalism's past, but we can be part of writing its future. A growing number of journalists, media outlets, and constituents are joining a long-standing movement working to transform journalism. The directive is to push the industry to live up to its highest ideals of being the first draft of history, a service that provides care and information to community in a field willing to hold power accountable. To bridge our past to our future, we need to embrace reparative actions in journalism to get to a liberated tomorrow. In our next video, we'll share what the media can learn from global repair movements and embark on a journey toward reparative journalism.